Hello, I'm Robert, voluntary fact checker and helping you if you're scared of many things. And this is about the Discord breach last October 2025. So I've talked in previous videos about how Discord is actually excellent at privacy protection in the way it is handling age verification and in all the automatic systems that it's using. Discord's breach was for its manual, if you needed your age to be manually checked. And it's not able to achieve the same completely automatic privacy protection in that situation. So this is its weak point, as it were. So I will talk about what went wrong in October and then what they did to handle it, and then what this means in terms of personal risk management if you need to go through manual verification. So first of all, before I get to all that, I just want to make it very clear that it's extraordinarily unlikely that you're going to need to do manual verification. So first of all, for almost everyone, as I said in the previous videos, Discord is confident that they will be able to work out that you're an adult anyway, just by the way you've interacted with Discord over the years. And then for those who are left over from that, then many of you will then be verified as being adult by using the selfie, which never leaves your device. And then finally, for those that do need to upload your government ID, if you decide to do that, then I talk about how extremely safe that is. That it is not just processed very quickly, but is very swiftly deleted on KID. All they ever look at is your date of birth and your photo. They never look at the rest of the fields. And they don't even preserve your date of birth. They just preserve pass or fail as to whether you're adult. Because after all, if you're adult, then you're getting older, so you're always going to be adult from then on. That's all they need to know. So this is for if that doesn't work for some reason. If it doesn't work, then you can wait and try again later. And maybe it's some bug that they've on their side that they'll fix. Or you can make sure that the date of birth is very clear on your photo ID. You can check that you're not wearing sunglasses or something that might confuse the matching of the selfie to the photo on and just generally try to look as much as possible like the photo on your photo ID. And then keep trying from time to time. And then eventually hopefully you get past. So it's only if that doesn't work, and then you could just say, well, okay, I'll just stick with the teen experience. I'll talk about that in the last video. It's not a big change actually with Discord for most users. But suppose you do decide to go through with the manual verification, then that is what this is all about. So I'll talk about what went wrong, and then how they fixed it, and then you can make your own personal risk management based on that. And I'll give you some tips about that at the end. So first of all, if you ask for a manual check, it means that human beings look at your data, and that's how it was breached. And there were no hacks, and the automated software wasn't compromised, and the ticket system software also wasn't compromised. It was a human being who was compromised in some way. Either they made a mistake, or it might have been a bribe, and Discord say they're investigating and they don't know which it was. So something went wrong in the checking, that like the background checks and everything that they do to make sure that the people who handle the ticket system are competent for their job and can't be bribed. And something went wrong with that. It wasn't in Discord. These were people that were employed by 5CA, a different company. 5CA says itself that we hope to determine this through when asked if it was solicited or bribed or cooperated with the threat actor. So they fired the employee, of course, and then now trying to determine why the employee acted as they did. That's 5CA. And then if you look at Discord, they immediately revoked 5CA's access, called in a forensic firm to look at it, and alerted law enforcement and directly notified the affected users. And so people often claim falsely that Discord didn't care and did nothing. As you see, it did a lot. And as well as that, and it notified the affected users directly, disabled all third-party vendor access while it was working on it, reported the incident, implemented stricter vendor risk assessments, and that includes, and I'll talk about what these things all mean at the end. So at the end, when I come to the bit about your personal risk management and what you make of all this, they put in extra precautions to make sure that everything is working, is done properly. And now, if you go and look at this incident, it is really quite hard to get to the truth of it. There's so much garbage and nonsense about it. But Discord clarified that it wasn't. They were using Zendesk, but there wasn't a breach of Zendesk or of Discord. And neither 5CA or their clients were hacked. So it was a single 5CA employee that led to this. So then this is where, as someone coming out with a bit of background, I explained I was been a software programmer since 1971, and then I was actually doing it as a business, selling my own software since the late 1990s. And so I'm kind of aware of the businesses, if you know what I mean, indirectly. So it's a major puzzle that one person managed to access credentials of 70,000 people. How could that possibly happen in a well set up ticket permission system? Surely only an administrator would have those level of privileges, and those are especially carefully vetted. So it could only be if they have a very high level of permissions. They can add and use users and inspect all the users and anything like that. Or they had lower levels of access but were accidentally given a permission that let them do more than they should. Or perhaps they could exploit their lower level of access, and once they were in there, they started guessing passwords and other details with automated tools. And so here's an analysis by FireCompass. And just speculating, remember that Discord got in a forensic team. Maybe FireCompass had something to do with that. I don't know. They don't explain how they got hold of the forensic information, but they seem to have had access to the forensic information. And the details, you can read the details there. If they are, FireCompass is a team that uses artificial intelligence to simulate a whole team of hackers trying to attack a company that wants to make sure that it's got a robust system to protect itself. So that's what FireCompass specialises in. And then once they get in, they leave a proof of concept. They leave just a little note saying, I hacked you, sort of thing. So as to prove they actually did get in. That's what FireCompass specialises in doing. And then with the permission of the company that they're trying to hack. And then the company, and then they can say, look, we found all these vulnerabilities, go and fix them. Anyway, so FireCompass, a team that knows a lot about forensics and so on, and if you look at their details, they don't spell it out, but it seems that it looks very much from the details they shared, if they're genuine, that there was some kind of lapse in the permissions, that this employee was able to access things that they shouldn't have. And it seems also that there may have been, so not the problem with Zendesk, but with the problem of people giving them, so what could happen is that although they're not an administrator, they're given access to a tool that administrators use, and then using that tool, they can see things they shouldn't be able to see with their level of access. And then the other thing is there's definite evidence of attempts to, and successful attempts at getting hold of the credentials of accounts that they shouldn't have had control of. So both those things I was talking about seem that accidentally given permissions and being able to guess passwords. So this seems like a major lapse in how this was set up. So it doesn't say who set it all up. It could easily be 5CA gave the wrong permissions to their own people. It doesn't necessarily mean it was Discord. So that is my best guess as to what happened. And Discord and Zendesk have advised a whole lot of things to do, and this is again a quantified compass, assuming they're accurate and assuming they are genuine. It's impossible to know if they are actually really, but they just seem to have so much detail, and it seems to fit the incident so well and they're a reputable company, so I think very likely they do have insight into what happened. So FileCompass say that Discord and Zendesk advise immediate rotation of the employee credentials, so they can't be reused. And multi-factor authentication. Remember all those annoying things where you're trying to log into somewhere and it says, "I've sent you a 5-digit number to your mobile phone. Please enter that in." So they have that, and so a lot more of that. It seems they had that, but maybe not enforced, because otherwise, why would enforced be an important thing? And vendor patches for improper access control settings. So that again suggests the access control settings were incorrect for some reason, that people would be able to use tools that they shouldn't be able to use. And restricting who can do various things, the API, these are the various tools that they use to do things, restricting who can use them. And that suggests those were compromised in some way, that people were using them but they shouldn't. And then also users to monitor accounts of suspicious activity and resets passwords. That suggests a risk, not necessarily that they were stolen, but from the logs it sounds as if they were. So FileCompass doesn't say how they got this information, but it does sound very, very possible that might be why it happened. And it went on for an amazing long period of time as well. The attack lasted over 58 hours. And during all that time, I forgot to mention that there, during all that time, nobody seems to have noticed that this was going on. So this would suggest that at that point in October, Discord's ticket system that it was using to handle manual verification was not as carefully set up as it should be. Either the fault of Discord, it could very well be the fault of 5CA, the company that they have now revoked access to. I think that's probably more likely, actually, that 5CA set it up properly. But it's impossible to know because they just don't go into that level of detail. Now, the reason that Discord is not explaining all this is because Discord don't want to give away any information to hackers or to other people about any vulnerabilities they may have. So they're not going to openly say, "Oh, this is exactly how they went in, this is what they did wrong, and this is a recipe for how you might be able to get in," you know? I mean, this is what we've now fixed, so so don't try that again. I mean, they're not going to say that publicly. So I'm sorry it's all vague, but it's normal in a situation like this. So the number of compromised accounts was very small, 2,027.9 million in the UK, and 68,000 out of perhaps 2 million in Australia. I go through how I get those figures there. And what they exposed, it was rather, I've got a list here. Let's see. No, that's something. Wait a minute. I'm trying to find. Let's just search this page. See if I can find a username. And I can't. I've got a quote, but I can't seem to find it on that page. But they had the hack included the government photo ID images, and so that would include all the details that are on your government photo ID, And then they also had the usernames for Discord for some of the accounts. And Discord immediately alerted all the people involved. So what they would have had to do when they got that alert is to contact all the people, do the basic things you do if you think there's a risk of your identity being stolen. You tell all the relevant people and saying, look, someone's got hold of all these details about me, please check and be careful, And you tell your banks, tell your passport, in between a bit, anyone who said issued a passport and so on. So it would have been a right nuisance for those people. So this is, so that's what happened. It was a breach. A human being was compromised, mistaken or bribed. It was only for the ticket system, and it likely won't happen again because they did all these things, but I've talked about all those, and all the rotations, and they probably have done many other things. Oh yes, so I was going to talk about what they said here. Remember I said earlier, I'll talk about this at the end. So what does MFA, well I've talked about multi-factor authentication. That means that the whole thing about you get it when you log in and you enter your password, it says, well I've just sent a 5-digit number to your mobile phone, please enter that in. That checks that you're the person that owns that mobile phone. Then you've got SOC 2 and ISO IEC 2007-1. So first of all, SOC 2, that's IC, well that one first as well, is International Standard for Information Security. So they were carefully going through the standard and applying that to what they're doing and looking at carefully. And then SOC 2 is a security assessment by a third-party licensed certified public accounting firm. So they do various methods involve detailed evaluation of their system, documented walkthroughs of control execution, review of internal policies, and testing evidence over the defined period. And it provides third-party validation that your controls are more than internal aspirations, they're auditable realities. So they're checking that the things that you're saying you're doing to protect your ticket system is actually working as expected and as it should be. So they have done a lot of things, because remember it is Discord, it's very important for them that this doesn't happen again. So what does this mean to you? If, first of all, as I said at the introduction, if Discord identifies you as an adult already without age verification, then great, nothing you need to do. If it verifies you with a selfie, it never leaves your device, great. If you're asked to upload the government ID, then check, as I said with the persona thing, check on the age verification page and see if it's going through KID. If it's through KID, it's extraordinarily safe. And then if it's just through something else like persona, then just check that you're comfortable with it. So with persona, they retained your photo and your date of birth, but everything else blurred out. For 7 days, seems to be just for debugging. And they weren't using that for fraud detection or anything to do with databases or anything. And so I would say, personal view, that's if they were doing an experiment like that, or even doing that permanently, I wouldn't see any risk with that. And Persona is a very reputable company. I need to add more to that debunk about that. They're used by banks, for instance, to check that the people that take out account are okay as well. So, but Discord was just using Persona to check only your photo and your date of birth, and with everything else blurred out, and then delete it after 7 days. And it was a short-term experiment that is now over, only for people in the United Kingdom. So that was nothing to worry about. And if you want to, just check who's doing it. Just check the details of age verification from the Discord page. And if there's anything there that you're not sure about, then to be sure to bring it up with me, and I'll do another fact check if there's anything new when this starts rolling out in March. So then, if you still aren't age verified, then as I said, try again, take a different selfie or try taking a selfie on a different device. Sometimes the selfie works on one device and doesn't work so well on another, and so on. And if all that fails, then you've got a ticket system. Then what you've got to think through is the risk. They've done a lot. This did happen last October. they have done a lot they have done a thorough check of it with forensics and going through law enforcement and everything. They've looked very carefully at this. They made lots of changes. They're clearly doing the best they possibly can, due diligence. They did have a very sloppy system, very probably, based on what we know. And they seem to, either, because not necessarily Discord, it could be 5CA that was sloppy. They're not going to reveal that, they haven't revealed that. But, so we do seem to have had some sloppiness there, as well as a compromised human that wasn't vetted properly. So Discord is doing much more careful vetting of the companies that it's employing for the ticket system. And so then, I think the risk is very low because of all that. And also, the October one happened at the very beginning of their ticket system back then. So I would say, if you want to be super careful and you do get to that point where you need manual verification, then wait for the initial search to be over. If there's something that to you, it all depends on how you evaluate the risk, like your personal tolerance for risk, what probability counts for you as something that you need to take account of. That's a personal decision. It also depends on whether this is something that is even a matter, something that's of concern to you. So, for instance, if you are a public figure with lots of information about you on the internet anyway, you're an Olympic champion in the Winter Olympics, for instance, then almost all the details on your government ID are public knowledge anyway. So you just need to start thinking about, what does it matter? Does it matter to me if my government ID, photo ID was seen by someone, and if it was leaked by a corrupted human? And then bear in mind everything that Discord has done to deal with it, and then just make a personal decision at that point. And then if you decide at the end of all that you're not going to do manual verification, then you get the kids' experience of Discord on that very remote chance that you don't pass all the other ways of doing age verification. And you could just keep on trying the photo ID and hope that eventually they fix the reason, whatever it was, that it didn't work. And just keep doing that every month or so. If you're in that situation, if your personal risk assessment is you don't want to go through manual verification. So that's it. I think this has explained all this. And my last video, I need to do another couple of articles. One will be about the age gating of servers, and what your experience is for what your experience will be if you don't get through age verification and you have the kids version of Discord and the under 18s version. And then the final article is going to just wrap everything up, which is basically put all these videos on one page. So that's what I've got left to do. I'll add this video, I'll check the video description for a link to this blog post, and I'll add this video to this blog post. So hopefully that's that sorted out, and if you've got any questions, be sure to let me know, and I'll help as best I can.